I'm off Bilsland. I'm training to be a PE teacher at the moment. Nearly finished my training year. My main sports are hockey and cricket. Yeah, I play locally for Alton Hockey Club. I've only actually been back there a year, but at university I played first team for Cardiff Met. And then I also played cricket locally for Alton, but also for the Wales cricket team. Because going to uni there, I managed to get selected for that. So since playing cricket, probably when I was like 13 or 14, because of my main kind of skill was bowling, I got like a lower back pain strain, and then from that I found out the arches of my feet were like quite collapsed, so I got insoles, but they were quite hard, and I think they did help, but actually I stopped wearing them because they were always causing more problems again. Then when I was about maybe 15, I think I rolled my ankle really badly in a cricket game, or sprained it, but never looked after it properly because again I had like an athletics thing, so I was like, I can't be injured. But ever since that, so for the last 8 years or whatever, I've had issues and it just keeps coming back. It's I think it's just the ligaments that are completely weakened. But then yeah, I think from that it's kind of stemmed to knee issues, and then the most recent injury is my hip. Well, I saw 2 different physios about. I had a private MRI, so I spent crazy money on it and I wasn't getting any answers, and then actually came home one Christmas and my uncle recommended Stuart, and actually it was like a Christmas present. He was like, oh, you can go and see him, and then yeah, it's just like the miracle man. You didn't even ask about my hip, you just went straight in at my feet and kind of saw the problem there. Got insoles fitted, and then I was back to uni by the end of January, and within a month, so I went through the stages of the insoles, and then within a month I was back playing like cricket and indoor league, and then played my last 2 hockey games. I think getting from 1 to perhaps 3 was almost the hardest bit, because the pain, like, it wasn't agony pain, it was just like discomfort, which you did say would be very likely. So it was almost getting used to this uncomfortable pain. So I think I remember being on like level 3 for perhaps 2 weeks, and then I quickly got through kind of 4 or 5, and then now I'm on 6, and I've been wearing them ever since. So I do pretty much wear them every day. But then it was interesting actually with lockdown, I was just living in like flip-flops and sliders and shoes that didn't put my insoles in, and actually after a couple months of that I noticed the difference quite quickly, and then I started wearing my trainers again and I had similar pain, so yeah, I do just rely on them. I've just finished the hockey season, so that's been from September till the first weekend of April, so we've just finished. And actually, all things considering, no like significant issues with injuries like my hip or anything, apart from in my last game where I think I slightly popped something in my other hip, but nothing too major. But I'm ready to go into cricket season, so again that's from now until September. And as I said earlier, my main kind of domain is still bowling, and where the ankle injury is in my left foot, it does kind of give me like recurring pain like every season, every year.
Okay, so Martha, if you can just push up onto your right toes and back down again. So what I'm getting Martha to do is a test that I did on her in January 2020 when she first came to see me. And this is a simple ground force reaction test. Now when we did this originally, Martha's foot was as flat as a pancake and just went flying in an uncontrolled way into pronation. And her shin, her tibia and her femur at the time were actually rolling outward quite significantly, both shin and tibia, and rotating out at the hip here. And as a bowler, as she'd be doing this action, landing on that right foot, her right arm, which I was just sort of going to a bowling action, is going that way. So there's all the tension going in that direction from the hip through the stomach oblique muscles and up into the shoulder, whilst the shin and the thigh were actually going in this direction, which is putting a lot of strain here. And I'm absolutely delighted to see that here we are 2 years on, and her foot is now just dropping a little bit into pronation. It starts with an arch, which it didn't have before. It's dropping into a little bit of pronation, so the foot is flattening a little. There's movement at the subtalar joint here, so it's dropping inward there. And the shin is is rotating inwardly to follow it, and the thigh is rotating inwardly to follow the shin, and the pelvis is dropping forward and round to follow the thigh. So we've now got a really nice coordinated kinetic chain of movement from the foot on ground force reaction up to the hip. And then when Martha steps through with her right foot, we're looking for the opposite thing to happen. So we're looking for the pelvis in effect to go up and back, which it's doing, relative to the other side. We're looking for the thigh to rotate laterally, outwardly, which it's doing there. We're looking for the shin to rotate outwardly as she steps through, which it's doing. And we're looking for the foot to resupinate, which it's doing. So this is the pattern that we saw after, and you can have a rest there for a second. So this is the pattern we saw happening after the use of the insoles. But initially there was this completely uncoordinated sequence of movements. If you imagine the foot rolling in and the shin rolling out, there was a massive torque at the ankle. Now that was why Martha was getting significant ankle problems. And of course that rotation, as I was explaining a moment ago, was rotating laterally up in the top of the thigh and the hip, whilst her bowling arm was taking the stretch of all the tissues back in the opposite direction. So that's all corrected. So that's fantastic. What we didn't get a chance to do, as Martha mentioned, was to actually then work on some strengthening exercises for the foot and the ankle to help develop that further and stabilise it, and the dynamic movements in both in bowling in particular as she's landing, and then in hockey with the twisting and the turning in different directions. So we'll have a look at some of those exercises and start incorporating those into her sort of ongoing training programme. Start the movement with the foot stretch rotated at the ankle joint there. A little bit of tension in the band, and you're going to pull across the foot, keeping just working at the ankle if you can, so you're not rotating in your thigh or the shin, just the ankle. And again, come back slowly and under control. That's where you're struggling to control it, yeah? So really slowly and under control. So again, that's controlling the foot going into pronation, which is where you had the greatest problem when you first came to see me. With these exercises, to work these muscles eccentrically, we need tension in the band all of the time. So we start from our position here. There's tension in the band. Now as Martha moves her ankle and foot across, she's increasing the tension in the band here. And what it wants to do is recoil backwards at speed, but she's controlling that speed back by going back slowly. Now the progression for you, Martha, is to actually add in additional challenges. So you've got the tension in the band there. Now if you come back quickly to here, hold it there, go back again. And then release the foot and hold it there. Okay, same again, we'll come back a little bit further this time to there and stop, and then go back and stop, and go back, and then just stop quickly and do 2 stages. So stop, go, stop. Yeah, so we're in effect preparing the foot and the ankle for those sudden movements that you're going to experience when you're changing direction playing hockey, or as your foot's landing bowling. So we're going to do a gait analysis using the Optogate system on Martha. Normally we would start with somebody barefoot and then in their different shoes. We'll try, if you've got some different trainers with you, just there you go. We'll try in 2 different pairs of trainers and we'll assess Martha walking, see what's going on with her gait, and then we're going to do some biofeedback training to just make sure that she's moving as efficiently as she can in the insoles in these 2 different pairs of trainers. So I'm going to focus on instructing Martha as we go along now. So what?